Hey guys, welcome back to the Phantomcast today. As you can see, I've got a bunch of gear out here, so we're going to be doing a gear dump, but in reverse. I've been getting a lot of questions about how I pack and what goes into my pack. I know I did a gear dump prior. This is going to be a new gear dump. We're always evolving. Things are always changing. As we dive on into this, I'm going to go over each item, give a little bit of background as to why I still run it or why I switched. Going through that, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. These videos can get a little bit lengthy. I don't intend on going too in depth on everything. So with that out of the way, let's get some other stuff out of the way. As you know before in all my videos, I like to be very transparent. I don't want to give off the impression that I am sponsored in any way. So in each video, unless I am sponsored, I'm going to be completely honest and open with that. With all this, I am not sponsored, not paid. Nothing. None of these companies have any relationships with me. I haven't reached out to these companies in any way either to get free stuff, nothing like that. So all this gear has been purchased by me. I've been running it, and this is my personal opinion on things. So with that, keep that in mind and take it with a grain of salt. I kind of have a tendency to make people mad, so it is what it is. I'm open-minded. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So, all right. All that out of the way, let's get to the fun stuff. Okay, so we're going to work our way in from the interior of the bag and how I pack the interior of the bag, where I move things and what I put into it, all that stuff. So the pack that I've been using for about 4 years now, actually, I've really liked it. It's the Mr. Ranch Beartooth 80. If I remember correctly, it's right around that 5,100 cubic inches, 53. I honestly forget. I have to revert back and look at the website to check. But it's in that 5,100, 53 cubic inch ballpark. I still really enjoyed using this pack. It's been a good pack to me. It's treated me well. I have noticed a few hot spots on it, especially under heavy weight. But to be fair, this is the only pack that I have ran, like a new technology. Current technology. Let's roll with that. Current technology, what a lot of guys are running, and where things are at in the hunting industry. The frame's been great. It's handled heavy weight very well. I've packed all my gear with all my gear in it and a full deer. I haven't packed an elk out with this. I haven't been that great of an elk hunter lately, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it handles weight very well, very, very well. So I have no qualms with it there. I've had next to zero issues with this pack. So highly recommend this pack. It's just a little bit small for like your 10 plus days. My high country mule deer hunt that I'm preparing to go up and go do here in the next few days is going to be that 10-day, and it works great. It's just a little bit tight. I'm going to be able to pack out a deer, but it's going to be fairly tight. So maybe one day I'll bump up to like a 7,500 or something along those lines. There's a couple other packs I've been looking at that I'm really interested in. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. As of right now, this is what I'm running. Love the pack. It's been absolutely freaking awesome. So no complaints there. So part of the reason why I chose this pack over many of the other packs that are on the market is this horseshoe zipper. I know there's other companies that are offering something similar to this, but I like the ability to open the sucker up and not just only have to top load. And I understand top load's very efficient. It's very useful. It works. I just like to have the ability to get into it. I know there's other packs that have the horseshoe zipper and the top loading one. This one is not like that, so no problem there. The other reason why is it has these organizational pouches on the inside that kind of caught my attention. I'm a little accessory nerd, so if I can put little things in little places, you're going to get me. So that's kind of why I've ended up with this pack. On the inside of the pack here, as you can see the hose, I've got a CamelBak inside here. This is literally a CamelBak water bladder. It's a 2-liter water bladder. I keep it in the inside. I don't ever take it out. And to be honest with you, it's actually been, I missed my old CamelBak bladder. It was also a 2-liter. The nozzle and the hose just completely came apart. It wasn't one of the quick detach hoses, so I had to grow up and get another one. This one's been okay. I mean, like most bladders, it holds water, but the problem is if it's a full bladder and I have a lot of weight, you know, I have all my gear in there, it actually leaks, and I've actually gotten to camp with a soaked sleeping bag. So that's been a pain. That sucks. I've learned with this bladder, it has to be half. So 1 liter, 1 to 1.5 liters of water for it to not leak. Semi-unfortunate, you know, but once I get to camp and I'm moving around my spy camp, then I can top that baby off, and that's not an issue at that point. But it's got a hanger in there, keep it from resting in the bottom, so that way, not a big deal there. It's got the cool tactical hose with the hose cover on it, you know, cool guy stuff. So I apologize in advance. This table's really small, so I'm going to be moving around. I got a chair here with gear, rifles here, so we're going to move from the inside out. So sleeping bag, I don't have a super high-end sleeping bag. Quite honestly, I got it for sale at Sportsman's for like $60 if I remember correctly. It's a Teton bag. It's a 30-degree bag. Or sorry, I lied. It is a 20-degree bag. Look at the tags. Hey, look at that. It's a 20-degree bag. I didn't get a super cold bag, mostly because I feel like that they get kind of heavier, and I know new bags out there now, you know, that are like in the 0-degree range with a goose down, and even some of the synthetics are ridiculously light, and like the 1.5 pound mark. I'm a little bit more on a budget. Obviously, I'll spend some money on some things, but as far as a sleeping bag, I don't want to spend $400 or so on a sleeping bag, if not more, depending on the company that you're buying it from. So I found this, like I said, on sale at Sportsman's for $60. It's a Teton bag. It's been great. I've never been cold in it, quite honestly. I've actually been too warm in it. And so, and kind of my philosophy is as well, it dips down in like the below the 20s, it'll keep you alive. But if I'm starting to get cold at that point, I've got these really nice fancy layers that I can put on as well and wear it in the sleeping bag, and I'm going to be just fine. So, okay. So this guy, just due to its shape and its size, if I remember correctly, it's like 3.5 pounds, something like that. Not anything crazy. It goes in the bottom. So I open up the bottom, and you can see it actually fits super nice, just like that in there. And just kind of make sure it's nice and snug on the edges there, just like that. I'm actually going to turn this guy a little bit, going to squish some gear here, but oh well. It makes sense in my monkey brain to do it this way. So that goes in here at the bottom like that, okay? All right, so then here's something I would recommend not cheaping out on is a tent, okay? I see a lot of guys, you know, they want to not necessarily spend the big dollars. Now, I'm not saying you got to go spend $1,000 on a tent, but it's America. You do what you want. But I highly recommend getting a good, reputable tent, because the last thing you want is a windstorm with rain to come through or an ice rain to come through, and your tent stakes, your tent rods break, or your tent just comes apart. And well, now you're in a really bad situation. So I'm running a big Agnes Fly Creek 2. I've been running it now for the last 4 years. It's been great. My only real complaint about it is the bag itself. As you can see, it's ripped on the top, so I just kind of have to rig it kind of funky there on the top and get it tight to hold everything down, but it's not that big of a deal. I've also lost those really fancy, nice aluminum tent stakes, so now I'm just running some generalized tent stakes that I have crammed down there in the bottom. Unfortunately, it's not the brightest thing to do. I'm starting to put holes down here in the bottom. Tent's still in pretty good shape. Eventually, I might have to replace the bag, but there are some holes and stuff in the tent, but it's been great. It's kept me dry. It's a 3-season tent, stupid light. It's like 2 pounds, somewhere around there, if I remember correctly. Nothing wild. Okay, so I stuff it here on this side, kind of keep the bag, give that bag a shape, and I put its shape, keep its shape here, and I put the tent stakes on the opposite side. All right, part of my sleep system here. This is a Klymit Insulated Static V. It's got some insulation if I remember correct. Yeah, 4.4 R value, so it gives you some insulation from the ground. It is quite honestly a little bit too warm for the summers and these early fall hunts. It can be pretty warm in conjunction with the sleeping bag, but you know, I would rather have a too warm issue than freezing my butt off issue, so I'll take that. This isn't all that heavy either. I'm looking right at it. Even in the package, it's 24 ounces. So do the math, that's a pound and a half. So not bad. I do keep it in the case. I know some guys talk about keep taking out of the case. They got to shave ounces and stuff, but it sucks when you have a hole in your bag or in your sleeping pad. So I want to keep this guy protected, so I leave it in the case. I used to not run it in the case, but now I do because I don't want a flat sleeping pad. So that gets stuffed down here in the bottom, just like that, kind of sideways. As you can see, actually, sorry, kind of like this, because I've changed some stuff up. I used to carry my spotting scope on the outside of the pack on this side. I had it strapped in right here. I'm still running that case because it's actually lighter than the cover that Vortex sends it in or has it with. I used to run it on the side of the pack strapped in, but quite honestly, it drove me nuts because getting it in and out of that, it would come up out of the pouch here constantly, and it was a pain getting it back in, so change that up. So now, and I used to run it in this pouch here. I no longer do that because it's kind of a pain too, to do that, and I used to be, well, I still kind of am, lazy to open up the main bag to get it out, but as I mature and as I learn, it's actually like, dude, just get it out of the pack if you need it. So that goes on the inside, just like so. So here's the top, here's the eyepiece, here's the bottom, here's how it actually is supposed to work and strap in, but I'm fitting it right there in the middle. So it's a nice, snug fit. Everything's kind of not overly pressured on top of each other, but helps keep things kind of stacked together there. So next piece here is an extra fuel canister, and yes, I have the big suckers. I know there's a huge mentality of only need the little ones, get the little ones because they're lightweight and that's the cool thing to do. I don't want to be that guy that runs out of fuel and I'm running a pocket rocket, which does burn quite a bit of fuel. And this hunt coming up, I'm going to be at anywhere from 85 to 10,000 feet. And so I'm going to burn a lot more fuel. So having this little bit extra fuel is not the end of the world. I'd rather take it. It's one of those items I would rather just have. And I'll eventually will need it. As you see, there's a second one there. That's my primary one. Here's my backup one. So that is going to fit right here on top of my sleeping pad. And you can see it fits spot right pretty dang good next to the spotting scope. All right, last piece. So this is my game bags. These are my Wapiti from Caribou Game Bags, or Caribou Gear, sorry. I've really liked these game bags a lot. They're super light for what they are. I know there are some lighter ones out there, but I've really liked using these ones. The only thing I'm missing here is the rest of my food. I'm not showing, I'll explain how I pack it, but I use the game bags, one of these game bags to house all my food. So I'm not having to go out and get another bag or anything like that. So that is what is going there. So this will wedge in here at the top. So I have it stacked here in the top to kind of add some additional padding for the eyepiece and my optic here. It should be fine. It should not be an issue, but just a little bit added measure there. Try to keep things a little bit better protected. Okay. So I'm going to move some things now. So now that is what's in the main bag. Okay. So now let's move on to what I'm going to be putting into these pouches here. Got some items here. So I got a lot of paracord here. This is probably a little bit overkill. I've obviously not had to use it yet, but I would rather have a ton of it in case I need to hang up, my game bags. I make a kill and I got to either leave all the meat there and pack it out later type of deal, or I'm at camp and I want to stay an extra night, or what have you. You let your imagination run, or need guy lines or whatever. It's good to have an abundance of paracord. It's not a lot of weight. I don't remember the footage exactly, but it's a lot. So that will actually go on this top one here, facing up and down, snug down there at the bottom. In that same pouch, I have my water filtration system. So I have my Platypus 8-liter water system here with the dirty bag and the clean bag. I really like using this system. It's been great. The filter, it takes a while for it to run out of its. I don't remember the amount of gallons that it's rated for, but I'm nowhere near that yet. It's been a good system. It's nice to fill it up with water, at the bottom, and it's nice to fill up the dirty one and get a good batch of water, and then also carry up a dirty bag full of water. So that way when you're in camp, I have my clean 4 liters, and then once that starts running low, then I can plug the dirty water back in and then filter that out. And then I can take my dirty bag with me if I'm out hiking around, packing around, and then I can fill that up real quick before heading back to camp. So I have more water. So I have water at camp all the time. So I really like that. The downside to running a filtration system like this is once you run into cold weather and there's water in the filter and it freezes, you're going to compromise the filter system in there, and it's not going to filter properly, and you have a good chance of getting sick. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially for your colder weather hunts. The filter definitely needs to be protected. So at camp, I'm looking at some weather dropping here during this hunt later in the week, down below freezing. And so with that being said, more than likely this filter is going to be in the tent with me and possibly in my sleeping bag, just to protect that filter, to keep it from freezing. So I do have other water purification methods, and we'll get into that later on, but that's something to keep in mind with filters. Does it bother me? Quite honestly, no, it doesn't bother me. Okay, I rolled this up wrong. I apologize. So that goes like that. Okay. And then zip that bad boy up. So that's in there, right there. Okay. Now, I have some surgical gloves. I get these quite often. These are actually really nice. I used them last year when I killed my wolf. Wolves are gross. So if I'm killing a bear or killing a wolf, handling that, and there's parasites, these are actually really nice to have. Keep the hands clean. I'm not too terribly worried about deer or elk for that matter, but it's just nice to have some of these guys. So they tend to rip. So I have 3. I'll go in the big bag here. So I put those on top. So the next thing is going to go in here. So this is new. I just picked this up recently. So this is a Gold Zero solar charger panel, or charging panel. I haven't been running one yet, but as technology increases, the more stuff I bring out, the more I'm needing to charge things and need to be able to charge my power banks when I'm out and away, because I'm having to charge my GoPro. I'm using my phone more often for filming and such. So having this is nice to keep everything that I have charged, so that way I'm not stressing about, oh no, I'm out of juice. So that'll go on that bigger pouch as well, on top of those gloves. Those gloves are kind of thick, and so they have some padding there. So that'll give some protection to that panel there. All right, so then socks. So I do keep socks in the main bag here. So I've got my my Darn Tough heavyweight sock here, and then a medium weight sock here. I was talking about earlier in my layering system video about bringing my lightweight sock. looking at the weather that I'm going to be seeing coming in, the temperatures keep dropping, and I'm seeing some sleet or some ice rain possibilities. And at the elevation I'm going to be at, I'm going to be seeing some more snow. So I've actually opted to just bring some midweight and a heavyweight sock. And that's going to go in my pack because I'm going to be wearing a midweight sock in. So I'm actually bringing one extra sock compared to what I would normally bring, just in case. I don't want to be cold. Last year I got cold. I was not prepared for the weather that came in. Not to say that I was struggling, but I don't want to be cold. So, okay. So there's that. The only thing like I said, I'm missing is taking a game bag and putting all my food items in. So I run Peak Refuel. Maybe not before this hunt, but maybe sometime down the road I'll go over kind of more of what I've evolved to as far as food goes. But I have the little Ziploc bags that I put my daily use food, and then I have my Peak Refuel. I'm only running one Peak Refuel meal a day. I'm not a huge breakfast guy, so I just found that having a breakfast and a lunch was just too much for me. And so I'm more of like a snacker in the morning and throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, I can have that giant meal and I feel refreshed and recovered by the time I wake up the next day. So that lightens up the load quite a bit, but that would go in a game bag on top of here because I can flatten that out over the top and then bring the bag over the top of that and keeps it all compact down to the bag. Another note to take when loading your pack, you want your heavier items more towards the center of the pack and closer to the frame. Because the thing is, like with this pouch for my spotter, as I have learned, and have learned also when I've packed kind of awkwardly and weirdly, is the further away it sticks out from your back, the more likely you're going to be leaning back. And you do feel that at the end of the day, especially when I have this guy attached to the outer straps here that go over the top. These guys that go over the top of the bag there, it sucks at the end of the day, and it just makes you tired and it sags. So you want the heavier things closer to the middle and closer to the frame of the bag or the pack frame as much as possible. Okay. So, yep, like I said, food will go on top here. So that's everything for the inside of the bag. It's not a whole lot, but we can zip this guy up. Oh, sorry, I lied. I missed some things. So I'm going to be taking some stuff this year, like my Axis jacket. So my Axis jacket right here, this is actually going to go on the inside of the pack, under maybe over top of the food, maybe underneath the food. I'm not sure. Sorry, I missed that. I'm not used to taking it here. Usually, if I am taking the Axis jacket, I would be wearing it. But in this hunt, I'm not, and it's probably not going to be the first item that I grab. So it's just going to be in the inside of the frame or inside the bag for now. So that should be it for the bag. Okay. Okay. So layering system. As I mentioned before, I used to pack my spotter in here. As you can see, it extends pretty dang far. It can hold quite a bit of items in there, and I do really like this pouch. Like I said, if you give me little pockets and pouches and stuff and accessory pouches, you're going to get me. For whatever reason, I really like that stuff. So that was another reason why I like this this bag. So layering system, that's going into there. So Peloton, my Peloton 200 is going to go in there. So here's how I fold it. So I tuck the hood back like that, lay it down over the top, sleeve, sleeve, and then I fold this over slightly to the shoulders, and then I roll. Just like that, okay? And this guy is going to get stuffed down here at the bottom. Just like that, because that is honestly going to be the first one that I probably grab, or a vest, one of the two vests. Okay, so this is where I'm getting a little weird. I know in my layering system video, I went over these two vests again and said I didn't want to bring both of them, but I'm actually going to bring both of them I know it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me either, but I'm bringing both of them. I actually want to test them both out side by side. It's been a while since I've actually ran the Under Armour vest, so I want to give the KUIU the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. And it can't hurt to be warm. Like I said, I'm expecting some fairly cold weather by the middle of next week. So a little extra layer of warmth isn't going to hurt anything. I'll make it a little bit heavier than necessary. But hey, if I wasn't giving you guys honest reviews, then you wouldn't see me do that. So I want to give you guys the best knowledge that I can figure out in testing, and that's what I'm going to do. So same method. I lay it forward, except I don't have a hood. So I tuck in the edges here to the shoulders, and then I roll from the top. Roll from the top, just like that. So you kind of fold it down, nice, smaller package. I know some guys like to fold and keep everything flat. I don't. I like to roll them up because how I organized. Okay, so this one is going to go at the top, just like that. As you can see, so my best Peloton 200 hoodie, I still have a lot of room in the middle here. Basically, as you can see, here in the middle. So that's kind of why I do it. So now the Axis vest, same concept, face down, fold it at the shoulders, and roll. Just like so. Okay, again. All right, and that's going to go middle top, like that. Okay, and you see, boom, perfect, nice, lots of room still for another layering system. So, and again, I know in my layering system, I talked about utilizing the Under Armour jacket over the KUIU Peloton 240. I think I'm just going to bring the 240. I thought I had myself convinced that the other jacket was going to be the better option. I've worn them both in the morning now a little bit. Not enough to really notice a difference or anything, but I think I'm going to run this guy. So bringing two pairs of the same jacket, like two of the same vest and two of these, just is too much. I don't want to bring that much with me if I wanted to give them both benefit of the doubt. But eventually I probably will run that Under Armour jacket at some point. So yeah, so X across the sleeves like that. Fold it up to the shoulders like that. Fold it up and roll. Okay, there you go. Again, nice package. And this bad boy is going to fit a little snug, but it's going in. There you go. See? No problem. And you can see I still have some room here. Okay. So my Guide X gloves, sorry, heartburn. My Guide X gloves here. Sometimes I put them in the main bag, but in this instance, these are actually going to go in here because I have plenty of room. So those will go kind of right there in the front. So now, my rain jacket. Okay, as I've spoken to you guys before, if you guys have seen my layering system video, if you haven't, and you have the time, I'd highly appreciate it if you go and check that out. I talked about the rain jacket and the Axis jacket, only bringing one or the other. Well, like I keep referring back to, I'm looking at the weather and I'm super excited about the weather that's rolling in. Super excited about it because it's going to get animals moving. Hopefully it's going to douse a lot of the fires that we've been dealing with here in Idaho. So I'm excited about that. But with that extra heavy expectance of precipitation and rain and such, I just want to be more on the caution side and utilize my gear. So I'm going to be taking my rain jacket. So something that I do, maybe others do, maybe you've seen me do. So this is the one that I don't fold and roll into this pouch, okay? So like this. So I take the square side and I kind of feed it underneath like this. Just like that. Over the top to the edges and to the rear. That's what I do. Again, these zippers are super heavy duty. As you guys know, I have a thing about zippers. There we are. Everything in there. All my outer garments that I'm going to be pulling throughout the day, minus my puffy, are all right here. So, all right. So now we're getting to the top lid. The rest of this stuff is what, minus some other miscellaneous items, are going to be ending up in my top lid. So I'll stand this guy up like this. Oh, sorry. Before we get into the top lid, here's another pouch here on the outside. This stuff never leaves the pouch. It doesn't. Even when I get home, this stays in here no matter what. It doesn't go anywhere. So my tags. I have a Havalon knife. I know a lot of guys talk about the blades on these breaking. I mean, I've broken them as well. I'm not going to say that they're most sturdiest thing, and I'm not recommending plying on bone with them. But I mean, these things, they work super well. I mean, they're razors, so you're going to get the job done. My only recommendation with these guys is have more blades than you think you would need, at least until you get good at taking care of an animal. I generally go through 1 to 2, depending on the size of the animal. Like my wolf, I think I went through 2 because the one that was on there I'd already used to cut an animal and quarter one out and process it. And so that would be why. An elk, maybe 2 to 3. So just have more blades than you think you need. The other thing is that they don't talk about is razors do have a shelf life. They do expire. In the medical field, they do expire. And the same thing happens to the Havalon blade. So it's been another thing, is I know a lot of guys go, yeah, I got a new blade. It just wasn't all that sharp. Like, it was sharp, but not any sharper than my knife. Well, there's an expiration date on the blades. So that's something to keep in mind. It's good to have new blades. That way they are razor sharp, because if I remember correctly, the blades actually do oxidize, even though they are in the container. And check me, please, if I could be wrong, but this is my understanding. So the blades, the edge of the blades oxidize, so that brings down the sharpness, makes it more dull, not as efficient. So, but I love them. They work well. That stays in there no matter what. That goes there because if I take it out, I'm going to lose it. Same with my tags. Tags go in there. They don't ever come out until I validate. So I have an extra fire starting kit in there with some emergency iodine tablets. This is like for if things really hit the fan and it's really bad, then I have these iodine tablets I can purify water with. If, let's say, I break a leg or get lost, which likelihood of getting lost nowadays, if you're smart, like using the technologies that we have that are available to us, you shouldn't get lost, but things happen. So, cell phones die, things break, all that stuff. So it's just an extra measure to be able to get water if I don't have the ability to boil it. So that stays in there. That never comes out. Fire starting kit, nothing fancy. Got an extra lighter here. Full of water. These Bic lighters, they stay waterproof. And if they do get wet, then you just stick them in your pocket and they should dry out. And then I've got a magnesium striker here. That's in there just in case. It's one of those things like maybe, and it probably isn't smart that I have them both in there together. Not that they're going to catch fire all of a sudden, but you lose. I could lose both of them. Say I lost them, then I lose both of them and I don't have them. But if you lose your pack, you're in big trouble. Anyway, so those stay together in my kill kit pouch here. So here's the tool that you use to get the blades off of the Havalon. that always stays in there as well. It would suck. I haven't ran into that issue personally, but I can imagine it would suck. You know, you need to change your blade out and you don't know where this is. So that stays in there. That stays in there. Okay. So that is my kill pouch. Yeah, so that's that pouch. So here at the top, so here's my straps, compress everything down. Here. There we go. Tighten that up. As you can see, it's really not that bad. I mean, once I get the food in there, then it might extend out a little bit more, but I haven't utilized all 51 or 5,300 cubic inches of this pack yet. So that's nice. There's still quite a bit of room in there to utilize. All right. So now we are officially moving to a top lid. Okay. So my top one here, apparently I forgot to take this out, is my cookery set. So here's my first fuel canister. It's about half full. Here's my pocket rocket. So it comes in the metal container here. I do have a plastic container there. I'll just take it out real quick. I didn't necessarily want to take it out, but just to show you guys, kind of give a better view of it. I've thought about getting rid of the plastic thing, this measuring thing, but you know what? I find it useful. That way I'm measuring correctly up on the mountain, not overusing or underusing my water. Yeah, and then I've got my nice little pocket rocket in there. Here's my main lighter. And quite honestly, I mean, there is over half full of fuel in this guy, because using the pocket rocket, I don't necessarily need the actual flame. I just hit the spark and the sparks ignite it and I'm good to go there. So, and then I've got this to grab the pot, because this thing does get fairly warm. It's got the rubber pad here, but the rubber pad even gets really hot, so I try not to grab it like this. If I had a low simmer and I was drinking something warm out of here, which I might do up there, especially in those colder temperatures, then it might not get so bad. But when you got this thing torched and it's cranking boiling hot, this thing's pretty dang warm. So it's a nice small package. If you're trying to go ultra light, I recommend the pocket rocket. It just burns a lot more fuel. And so that's just something to take into consideration. And then it's also obviously not windproof. There are windproof burners out there, but if you're not looking to spend, you know, $100 to $200 on some type of camp stove, then this guy will do the trick. It's been fine. I've been running it for a number of years now, and I've had next to no issues with it. I just have to be certain that it is out of the wind. So, okay. So that's going to go on my top one. Here, I kind of like to snug it down here in the bottom. And then this guy on the other side snugs in, so they're paired like that. Okay. The other reason why I stack them on top like that too is sometimes the stove inside will rattle. And so I've just learned like keeping the pressure on it from the top, for whatever reason, keeps it together versus having it here where there's more bounce. So I have it like that, or even on the bottom one. So I have it right there on the top. I'm just learning it works great. Okay. The next thing I put in there, dude wipes, man. I went on a backpack trip with a buddy one time who showed up with wet wipes, and I thought it was the funniest thing. It just was like, what? You have those? Why? And so I used to do the thing where, you know, you roll your toilet paper up and you put it into a Ziploc bag, and it's ultra light, super light. But you know what's really nice is when you've been on the mountain for the 3 or 4 days and you have one of these and you feel fresh and you feel clean. I'm sure some guys are giggling at me right now, but I'll tell you what, that is a great feeling. And so, I mean, you can go get the cheaper ones, but I want to be somewhat cool, so I get the dude wipes, you know, for men. So that's going to go on the top. I don't have it in the main bag, you know, because sometimes there's emergencies and you got to take care of something ugly, and it's right there. So, yeah. Okay. next stuff I'm going to put in there. So here is my main filtration system that I use throughout the day if I'm up and moving. So I primarily drink from my Nalgene, which is right here. I even have this day to day. This is everywhere with me. So I take this with me hunting. I mix my drinks in there, all that good stuff. But throughout the day, I come across a stream and I need to top off. Instead of taking out that giant filtration system, which I primarily can leave at camp, I have my Sawyer Squeeze. I like this system a lot. It's super simplistic. It does a great job, filters out the water, and I can just dump it right into here. The only bummer part is this bag has already kind of started to fail on me. It's got a couple holes here at the top, so that's not big of a deal. It is annoying, but I just cover it with my thumb and give it a good squeeze, and I'm able to fill my water bottle up super quick and super simple. Very easy. Again, same thing with the Platypus filtration system. If it does get down to below freezing and there's a concern of this freezing, that's just something to keep in mind. Once it freezes, the filter's going to be compromised. So that's just something to think about. Okay, so that'll go in there on top of the Dude wipes like that. And this can just fit in there somewhere. I used to roll it up, but now that I put it in the top lid, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, the next few things that I have are small miscellaneous items. So here's my spoon. Yes, it's oversized, but it's also not one of those Sea to Summit spoons that are titanium and are like $30 freaking. This was a part of a set with a fork, a knife, and this spoon for like $4 at Sportsman's. So super cheap, nothing fancy. It's like a steel spoon. Works fine. I don't burn my hand. I know a lot of guys talk about having those super long spoons so you don't burn your hands. Whatever. Okay, that's, again, you guys, these are my opinions, and if you don't like them, that's fine. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. So, okay, the other few miscellaneous items in here. So I do have another water purification system. I do have a SteriPen here. I have yet to use this guy. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I haven't had any issues with my filters yet, and have yet to use this. Does it work? Probably. I know some guys have used them all the time and have had no issues with them, so it probably works. I still get a little weirded out by it. My only concern with this guy is I don't know if that tube is lighting up, so that's not good. So this guy might be broken. So no, it's working. So that will be in there. That's just another added measure. If I need to use it, then it's in there and we're good to go. So that wedge is down there in the middle. Works great. Another thing I've started to bring, or just now going to bring, is this hand sanitizing deal. My wife actually gave this to me and I never took it. And I was like, you know what, maybe this time, especially after dealing with that wolf, let's say I kill a wolf again or a bear, it would be nice to have something. So that way, just a little bit of peace of mind, because those things are gross. They really are. Even using the gloves, I was like, ugh. And so having that would be nice. I just don't want to get sick. Okay. Final adapter. So this little adapter goes onto the tripod if I am going to be glassing with my binos, not my spotter. So that goes up there at the top, easy and accessible. I used to carry it in my bino harness, but that kind of drove me nuts because I'd have my GoPro and my bino harness and a couple other items. So I've moved that to there. Okay, another buckle system. So something to keep in mind is buckles break all the time. The first year I had my Mr. Ranch pack here, the main buckles broke, and I just didn't like how undersized those buckles were, so I kind of went overboard and I got some Stone Glacier ones, these giant ones, and because I feel like the ones that come from Mystery Ranch are just pretty undersized, so I went and got some Stone Glacier ones and I've completely negated that problem and don't have that issue at all anymore. So this is the rest of the set. They're just good to have. Like I said, buckles break. If something breaks and you can't wear your pack anymore, like one of these break or something, I can replace it with those. Typically that's in the main bag. To be honest with you, I forgot to pack it in there. So for today, it's going in the top lid. It'll probably end up going back. So that's it for that guy, that top one there. The idea for me at top lids is just everything that you're going to be using throughout the day. Just keep them accessible, ready to grab, ready to rock and roll. Okay, so for this one, there it is. This one, so this big orange bag here, it's waterproof. It's a rain bag. I have it that way for a reason because it has my power banks in there. It has my charging cords in there. It has extra batteries in there. It has my hygiene system. I've got extra contacts that are going to be going in a Ziploc bag. I've got headlamps. So anything battery related. Here's one power bank. Here's my other Goal Zero power bank. Anything electronic related goes into here just to keep everything dry and protected and safe. Now, some of those, once the tent is set up, will come out of here and go into the tent and stay in the tent, like, you know, extra contacts and hygiene stuff and all that. But the batteries and the headlamp and all that are going to be rolling with me when I'm out and about. So this power bank I'll talk about real quick. I bought it from Sportsman. It's got a little solar panel here on top. It does charge from the solar panels, the power bank here, but the problem that I've learned with it is when it is sitting in the sun, the battery gets pretty hot and it stops charging. So I generally get about half charge with this sucker and it just kind of stops charging. So I can manually charge it, which I end up doing, but the bank itself actually holds quite a bit of charge. So I do like that. Okay. So now we'll go on the bottom lid here. I'll lay it down flat at the very bottom. Okay, so the last few items that are going to be going into my top lid here. So here's my puffy. You guys have seen me roll it up into this and take it out. I'm not going to do that today. But that goes in there. Again, another item that's readily accessible. I use this quite a bit instead of pulling out any of my other layers. I tend to go to this, especially when I'm sitting in glass and get a little bit chill. I go to this right away. So that'll get stuff down in there. Just like that. To one side. Okay, so my other two items. So I've got my neck gaiter. I tend to grab this from time to time. It just depends on what's going on. So I fold that up and roll it up. That'll get tucked down in there. As you can see, it's pretty small. And then my merino wool base layer. If I want to throw this on underneath my outer layer that I'm going to be wearing more often. So that's in there as well. Okay, and that pretty much sums it up for that top lid. Oops. Okay. Time to buckle it up. All right. Where'd you go? Oh, yeah, I did grab you. All right, so that is a fully loaded pack minus food. Yeah. So you can see it's still pretty streamlined. It looks a little bit funky just because it's kind of weird and you got all this stuff out here. But that's it. Let's see. Now, what I would put on the outside here, as you can see, there's a pouch right here. I'm not going to be able to show you what I would put on this side because I'm using it to hold the camera at this point. But my tripod would be right here, and I'm running the Vortex High Country 2 or something like that, I think is what it is. And so that will be strapped in here. I started to run it when I ran the spotter on this side. I ran it with these compression straps here. I just found that it beats the ever-living tar out of the bipod or the tripod. So I don't do that anymore. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to move the spotter from here to the internal of the bag, just to protect the tripod and then also to protect my spotter a little bit more. But this side is the side I attach my rifle to. Rifle straps in right here. So there we are. And that's my pack set up. The new item that I have picked up, and I'm probably going to end up moving it to this side. So let's do that right now. Is a Garmin InReach Mini 2. I picked it up. I have not been running it at all. I mean, at all. I've had no communication devices other than saying, hey, this is where I'm going to be at these days. I'm going to be here these days. I'm going to be here these days. So I was pretty stuck to staying within the confines of the areas that I said that I was going to be in. So having this also gives peace of mind. You know, the family, I can say, hey, you know, I'm good to go back at camp. I'm alive. I'm doing fine. Especially, you know, you get to day 5, 6, and everyone's like, okay, it's been a while, you know, type deal. So I did invest into one of these guys. So that way I'll be able to communicate with family and also be able to track my GPS markers, all that good jazz. So that's on there. That's an expensive piece of kit. I do recommend it, especially going on solo trips, which is on these backpack trips I've ended up doing basically by myself. It's not that I'm not willing to go with anybody else. It's just usually people don't want to go do what I want to do. So having that to be able to communicate with the outside world is good. So that's a new piece of kit. But other than that, yeah, guys, that is how I set up my pack, and how I load things minus food. But we went over that. So everything here together, I'll throw up a photo I took of a pre-pack before doing this video. It was like 40 some pounds, but I'll throw that up just so that way you guys can see that. And then, yeah, so that's everything that's going to be in my pack. So I'll set this down. It's going to be on my person going in. As always, from the feet up, Crispy Wyoming boots. Love the boots. Dang good boots. Ran very well. Run them hard. No issues there. Love them. Running them. Like I said earlier, midweight sock. I'm going to be running the midweight sock from Darn Tough. Got 2 extra pairs of socks in the pack. Not normally what I do, but going to be going through some inclement weather. So then I've got my Katana Gators. I'll be wearing those going in. My Stone Glacier de Havilland pant. I'll be wearing those. Okay, that's bottom layer. Top layer. Sorry, yeah, merino wool underwear. There you go. I'll be wearing those bad boys. Okay, I have been educated now on this outer garment. I was just recently told by a guy who lives in Arizona that it is pronounced Gila. And so, like I said, I've been educated now, and so the correct pronunciation of this garment is Gila. I've been calling it Gila forever, and I've now learned that it is wrong, so Gila. Thank you for that correction. Appreciate it. Gonna be running that guy, and again, the attack gloves. Okay, that's all gonna be on me. So now, still, I feel like one of the, not controversial anymore, but it is fun to argue about and make fun of people with them, but trekking poles. I'm running the Sissy Sticks from Peak. I liked the name. It's primarily the reason why I bought them and have fallen in love with them. They're Banggood trekking poles. I know there's other ones out there. I just like the fact that it's carbon fiber and then aluminum on the bottom. Seeing straight aluminum poles make me nervous, and then seeing some straight carbon poles make me nervous. So I like the hybridization of the sticks, of the walking sticks, or trekking poles, sorry. But I like them. I hardly, especially when my pack's loaded, they are nice. They take a lot of weight off the body and help save you. So I go with those. And then bino harness. I'm still running the same bino harness. I'm running the KUIU bino harness, Pro bino harness, whatever it's called. I don't remember if it's called Pro or, but it's been doing the job. It takes care of the binos very well. There's no problems with it. Keeps them dry, keeps them safe. I'm running Viper 12x50 still running those. I got my scent smoke here that I utilize quite a bit. I typically have a small Leatherman in there. I'm gonna have to find that. I don't know where that went. And then this side I have Ear Pro, and I also run my GoPro on this side. So I've got a new GoPro tripod attachment now, so hopefully I'm able to set the GoPro down and it's not falling over like it has been in the past on you guys on some of the hunting videos. So that'll be in there on that side. And I've got my rangefinder, my Vortex Viper 3000 rangefinder there. And then I've got my ammo pouch here on this side as well. For those who are going to ask, the rifle that I use is a Browning Western Hunter X-Bolt chambered in 6.5 PRC. So, okay guys, that is quick overview of how at least I pack everything into my pack and everything that I'm going to be taking on this backpack hunt. I'm going to be gone for 10 days. So I'm going to be taking off here soon and to the high country, and hopefully I'm able to harvest this year and find the mule deer of my dreams. But either way, it's going to be a great adventure, and I'm looking forward to filming that and putting that together and hopefully sharing my experiences. So if this has helped you out, awesome, great. And if you've tuned in this far and I haven't annoyed you yet, awesome. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for taking the time to check this video out. And best of luck to anybody and everybody who's watching this video. And I'll leave you with this as always. Be smart, be safe, be wise, and happy hunting.